All right. Okay, we're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. All right. First of all, I'm going to start off by saying um, I do these conversations because I'm always I have to let my friends know that before we get into the conversation, which I'm really excited for, I first have to give you your flowers, right? Because I'm not the one to wait and talk about, oh, my nigga was this and whatever, whatever. I'm like, no, no. When I see you, I'm gonna remind you on how I feel, right?
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah.
I want to say, honored and humbled, first of all, to call you a friend. I want to say that first of all.
Likewise, man. Come on, Luck.
And,
Yep.
and for the people who don't know, um, you've been a critical part of my upcoming, as far as me being an MC. First of all, um, I look to you, and I look to brothers like the crew, like the Alcoholics, and like I said, the Loop Pack and Raz and
Yeah.
Soul, and all these people from the West who made hip hop not only be lyrically in front and be dope, but also um, they had fun. You know what I mean? And and not only I watched you take it from paparazzi to Kingmaker, and what happened in the middle of all that was amazing films and television and TV shows and just great adventures and just dope conversations and building.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man.
first, man, you've always been a hell of a human being for me. In this community, good character and good community is what this platform is built on. So to have a cat like yourself here today, speaking with me, it's just I never get used to it. I don't care how long we've been friends, how long we've been cool. I never get used to you
Yeah.
being who you are in the space and allowing me the space to do this. So thank you for being on my platform, man. Thank
Hey,
you.
man. Come on, man. Luck. When we got the opportunity to speak, I know it's been a minute, and you wanted to do this. I look forward to this conversation because, um, I respect your character. I respect who you are, brother, and the that speaks volumes. So
Thank you, man.
outside of the talent, you know what I'm saying? I like talking to you because you have intelligence beyond your years. And so
Thank
it's
you, man.
always a great conversation, man.
My man, my man. Shout out to all the followers, all the listeners follow in, man. It's this part of the Ghetto Cafe. These are my peoples in the building. Shout out to my man Rios. These are all good community people. These people right
Yeah.
here that you may see on the chat, they're all amazing human beings who are fans of just dope people, dope
Yeah.
art, dope creative spaces, and they're here to only show love because they're great people like that. Shout out to everybody in the building today. It's awesome that you guys are falling in.
Yeah, man. Shout out everybody in the room. Let's
Yeah,
get down to it. Hell yeah.
yeah,
Good luck. Good. I like that. Good luck. You
good
know what
luck, man.
I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let's start. No, I'm going to start music based because we got to start. I got to ground it in music, but we're gonna move off and let the conversation grow organically.
Mm,
Um, so at the speed of life, this is
yeah.
96,
96. Yeah.
96. At the speed of life, debut album X to the Z Exhibit. What do you feel like in this moment that your album is out now as an MC, and you have an album out, a real life album out in the world? What does it feel like at this time, if you can remember what it was like back then?
In 1996, um, I was just fresh off the street.
Mm,
I had just, made a transition into, putting things illegal down and trying to really pursue, what music was. I had been writing, but I was in a battle rap scene.
for
And
sure.
so, long story short, coming in and being around the Unity crowd and all of those things that, the wake up show,
Yeah.
those were the times where we had to cut our teeth. And so in 96, when 95, I got signed. 96, I was, I knew the amount of level of respect and love I had for hip hop. And
Right.
at the time, my world was what it was, and my understanding was what it was. And so I just wanted to put my best foot forward and then make my statement about how I felt about hip hop. I wasn't a man yet. I wasn't
Right.
I hadn't formed opinions that matter. My priorities hadn't been set. So it was to a point where I was just speaking my mind about the environment that I was in. There was also a tremendous amount of self doubt that came
Mm,
with being put into a situation where it's sink or swim first,
right.
and there's a lot of people, you know, trying to do the same thing. What makes you stand out? You know what I'm saying? What makes you you? And at the time, diversity and having your own sound was of importance. So
Right.
it was me trying to, okay, cool, I have to develop myself in real time in front of everybody. So, you know, my mistakes are going to be just as loud as as my wins. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
For
So
sure. For sure.
it was some waters that I had to figure out how to navigate, and then thankfully, um, some of the first things I did stuck to the wall. You know,
Uh,
paparazzi was the first thing I ever recorded when I went into the studio.
oh wow.
Yeah, that was the first thing I did. Me and Thayod, and it was at the end of a cassette tape, and and it was the last thing. It wasn't even a real beat. It was just one sound of the loop, and I was like, "What's that?" And so we went in, and that was the
Wow.
first song that was the first song I did. So yeah, that's what it was like at the time, putting that first record out, and also, you know, to add some texture to it,
Mhm.
that was important. But you know, also at the same time, you know, my lady at the time was pregnant, and
Oh,
you know,
word.
I was couch surfing, and you know, I didn't really have a way. You know,
Yeah.
I was trying, but I just knew that I wasn't going to do anything illegal because I had made a promise to myself and, you know what I'm saying, to the
Sure.
man upstairs, right? And so
Oh
I stuck to
man.
that. And so 2 months before she was due, I got signed. So it was like that duality right there was like
Right. Right.
that's why Foundation was made, because you know I was a young father. I didn't know, you know, what my life was going to look like past that point, and so that was like instructions being left of, you know, my experience and what I wanted for him.
Man.
You know, yeah.
You know, it's amazing hearing that because I'm thinking about time where I was where I was at that time, and I was just like a kid loving hip hop who from the West Coast. I had just you know, I not just found this thing, but I wrote my first rap in '95. My first rap ever in
Hey, you
1995.
still
Right?
remember it? You remember it?
I don't, but I have the book. I don't, but I do have the book though.
Ah.
Hey, but I do remember. I do remember my. So my sister was a rapper. My sister used to be on K Day 1580 K Day with Russ
Mm.
Parr and all them. And my sister was in the crew called the Nike Girls. She's the reason why I started rapping. My sister
Oh
wrote my
wow.
first rap when I was 10. She wrote me my first rap, and I still remember that to this day. I don't know. I never forgot it. Right,
Yeah.
and and just that love of fall, just love falling in love with hip hop through her and watching her, you know, take pictures with, you know, Heavy D and all the boys, right? And
Yeah.
LL Cool J, a young, very young Dr. Dre. He wasn't even, I don't know if you sure if he was Dr. Dre he was Dr. Dre at the time. And just all
Yeah.
these hip hop.
Wait. I want to go back to the first round because I remember mine.
Okay. So, okay,
Okay. I'll do mine. You do yours. What's
okay,
your
man.
first rap? Yeah.
My first rap was my sister, mind you, I was 10.
Yeah. No disclaimers. No disclaimers.
Just
Come on.
small
Let's do
read,
it. Let's do it.
right? So, okay.
All right.
No, so my sister wrote this for me. It say,
All right.
I can't believe I'm about to say this online. It's crazy. Uh, she said, MCT's in effect, keeping suckers in check. My mom is harder than ever, and this I can bet you. Any type of money I can make you say, I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Pops when I rhyme this way because I'm hardcore. Also filling out more. Watch your fucking music. Wait, watch it. Damn, wait, I forgot this. Wait, I forgot the rest of it, man. But
Okay. All right. My first rap I ever wrote was called Down With Me. All right. You ready? I'm going to go as far as I can. All right.
okay.
All right. Down With Me. is what you need to be, chilling and cooling. If now you just history, lyrical expressionist, because I'm the best at this. I pull you over and then I blow you a kiss. Coming out strong, because I'm the future. You see me pumping and jumping and ride to you. Lyrical, yeah.
Yo,
Horrible. Horrible.
I pull you over
Oh,
and blow you a kiss.
yeah.
Yo, yo.
Yo, but I said down with me like it was like a rock. Down with
Right,
me
right,
is what you
right,
need
right.
to be.
Yo, I love
Oh,
it,
shit.
bro. Man, I love the fact. I love it that you're like. First of all, the fact that we remember, but
Yeah,
these are
yeah.
pivotal
No, that's
moments.
the importance. But that's how you know. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Yeah.
pivotal
Some
moments in our.
things, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Some
it's just
things
pivotal
just
moments, man.
are
You
ingrained.
can't
Yeah.
forget
Ingrained.
these precious pivotal moments, man.
Yeah,
Uh, look,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay,
tell
so
you
back
off.
to it, back to it. I'm back to it.
Okay, okay.
And that would have drove
So
me crazy all day. I should have asked this
right,
nigga.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. All right. Back to
yeah.
it, back to
So
it.
my sister got me basically into rap because I basically followed behind her, and I was too young to literally follow her to like different clubs and parties she would go to, but I would live through her photos and her photo albums, and
Mm,
she had pictures with all these legendary people before they were the people, right? You know what I mean? Early, very early LL Cool J, like first coming to LA, and she going to them first shows, maybe like the Fresh Fest and all of first early shows, all these people. And I'm like, damn, I want to do something like that. Now I didn't know I wanted to be a rapper per se,
mm,
but she was just living and just engulfed in hip hop. That's what my sister was, and I
mm.
lived through her. You know, my one of my favorite albums because of the artwork was the Beastie Boys with the plane crashing on the
Yeah.
Beastie Boys album. I just thought that was so dope. I don't know why. I just thought it was dope. Then I heard Paul
Yeah.
Revere, and it was over, right? So,
Yeah.
right. So, um, I do want to talk about, like I said, I want this to be a conversation of just dope thought, hip hop, modern, uh, 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 um, some back in the day, and maybe how we can, or your thoughts about culture today, and this
Mm.
thing you love called hip hop, right?
Yep.
Um, we have this thing where, well, first of all, let's talk about this. Before we get there, there's a thing, right? So remember in the hood how when you watch hoods develop, like I watched my hood develop from being a young man to getting older, and there was crews that all popped up. Everything was crews first, and then those crews turned into gangs because people get older, people start fighting, and you watch those crews who were fun and connected, these kind of like things we had, and those things turned to gangs, right?
Mm.
And then in LA, then you turned either side. Either you turned to Crips or you turned Bloods, and then this other thing happened after that.
Mm.
I kind of I kind of liken it to rap in a sense, right? Because before you had your like serious uh maybe gangster kind of like tones of what music was going on, there was the crews.
Yeah.
And a rap crew was like the funnest thing to be a part of. You had a crew that just be rapping, like that's fun. And so I look at kind of like a rap in different sections. So when I bring up like the Lupac, or I bring up souls, right? Or I bring up the identity of or what was to be Golden State Warriors,
Mm.
right? So I think about these. These were dudes who were dope that had a kinship and wanted to create dope stuff in their own collective,
Mm.
aside from things they had going on, right? And and then I watched everybody get older in a sense, right? And and then you had labels that turned into kind of like more serious, not gangs per se. I don't want to make it a gang thing, but it was a
Right.
little more serious, and the money and things started getting a little more serious because once
Right.
you start talking about like death and all that stuff, it's serious, you know.
Right.
Because I watched the MC, I could watch us battle back in the day, and it was just about me being a harder MC than you, right?
Right. Right.
Then it got to the point where I'll kill you somewhere,
Yeah.
which you know,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
so, where did we go? I don't want to say wrong because it's perspective, right? But
Mm.
where did the turn come when we would just want to be dope rappers, and then all of a sudden here comes this other energy that will kind of affect us in a different way later on, in your opinion?
Uh, in my opinion, that started way before hip hop.
For bad for
You
sure.
know, um,
Yeah.
I'm real, you fake.
Yep.
Prove
Yeah.
it. I don't believe you. Um, you ain't
Mm,
you ain't that. So that psychology permeates through our community. You
yep.
know,
Yep.
you think you're better than me. Okay, all right, but that somehow gets mixed into being confused with being competitive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we all have experienced poor losers,
Yep.
temper tantrums. We've seen, so there's a big dynamic that's happening when it comes to that. So it's too simple to say crabs in a barrel mentality because it's dismissive of the actual problem and just looking at the symptoms, right?
For sure.
And so, you know, I think that when hip hop came into it and people were able to start making not only an impression on society, but also, maybe change their families' lives financially. And it became about, you know, not just owning your own stake in it, but how can I, cover everything? How can I get the most, right? So
Yeah.
greed became part of it. Greed became part of it. And, and fixing the game behind the scenes became part of it. And, it just became a very dangerous place. Went from nothing to something to millions to billions. And it's
Yeah.
continuing to grow. And the social impact on hip hop is very impactful. It's the new pop music. It sets the standard. It sets the tone. Um, and so now we have this thing that's this thing of ours that's been created, but we have no control over it. There's
Right.
no unions. There's no filter. There's no entry point, exit point. There's no school of tuition. It's just like if you got Wi-Fi, baby, you're an artist. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's how we got to this place. So
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to put it from my perspective.
No, I agree. I can feel that because it's like it's marketed in a way where people tend to blame hip hop for everything, right?
Right, right, right,
And those, to your point, yes, we had a lot of these things that happened way before hip hop. And if you take some of these same people and they create a culture, of course it starts seeping in because the programming was done way before. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
So I definitely dig that. And that I miss those days of just dope MCs. Just want to be dope. And if there was a battle, cool. Right. I miss the wake up show and I miss all these battles and I miss like having that energy where the raps I wasn't worried about the rap going further than the rap.
Right,
Right. You
right,
know,
right.
and I also here's the thing. I don't also want to be like the guy who comes from this and act like I don't understand what was going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
At the time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I always want perspective because I gotta make sure that a lot of people are doing revisionist history, right? They're changing up stuff. They're going back. They don't see it the same kind of way, right? And I want to make sure that I'm always like protective of what is said and what is how the culture is being perceived
Right, right,
in a
right,
sense.
right. You
You know
want
what I
to
mean?
be
So
accurate.
I want to be accurate. I
Yeah,
do. I
yeah.
do. You've had I do want to say you had a lot of hands on really put niggas on, right? And here's what I mean by that. Not only did you, right, have your like strong arm steadies, and like my man Jeff, just shout out to GFS Blackout, mentioned strong arm
Yeah,
steadies, and you and Be Real with Dimrick, with serial
yeah,
killers, right?
yeah.
And you always had your hand in like and myself invite me to the studio, put me on records, and put me around things that were just dope that you just wanted to, not because it never felt like. Here's the thing: I've been used in this business before,
Mm,
and consciously know that I was used in this business for
yeah.
whatever we all benefited one way or another, right?
Yeah.
But with you, it was never that, and it never felt
Right,
like that,
right.
right? It was just like, oh, you dope and you cool, come hang
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
Because you were very very big on inviting me around when there was nothing musically going on,
Right.
and for me that's huge
Well,
because
see, you can't really say that because
Mhm.
I come from where you come from. And
for sure.
so, look, I don't look at what you're doing to get my attention. Your skill level and what you are able to do lyrically is what got.
Oh, it's tripping. Oh, there you go. You back on. You hear me? Okay. I can't hear you though. Okay. Shout out to everybody in the chat. The Ghetto Cafe, I see you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We have technical difficulties, but we are in the building. Xzibit is definitely in the building. Be a lot of gems dropped today, man. I'm glad y'all up in here. Y'all good? Take your time. We good. We in here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Laura Racer, I see you. Mouse, I see you. GFS Blackout, Miss Kofi. Tafashe, I see you. Sunshine Baby is definitely in the building. Sauf, I see you, big dog. Easy Money is definitely in the building. Vic Damone Jr. definitely in the building. I see you, but I don't hear you. I don't hear you. Mm. Yo. Nope, no, nope. I don't know why it's doing that. Can y'all, maybe it can't just be me. Y'all hear Xzibit? I don't, let me see. I don't think so. Can y'all hear X? Can y'all hear me? Let me see. No, they can't hear you. It says muted. You got to mute it? No, you don't got to mute it. It don't say mute on my end. Can can you if you exit, yep. Shout out to the chat, man. Okay, y'all can hear me? Okay. We gonna get it right, man. Xzibit is definitely in the building, man. It's my brother, man. He it's his side not coming in. We hear you. Okay, appreciate that. We gonna get this right. I'm glad y'all fell in the building today. My bad, I couldn't promote this. It was such a last minute thing. My man X had me pull up to the studio. He's making moves, so he's in and out of LA real fast. So I had to pull up on him when I did, and we just getting it going. So I'm glad you guys are developing the spot, man, so we can have this dope conversation. I plan on talking to him about just a lot of dope things about his thoughts about. Let me see. Oh, yep. Okay. Let me see.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We back in the
Okay.
building.
Yeah, we
Yes, sir.
back.
We back in the building. We are back.
We
Okay.
back. Hold on.
Let me see. Yep. Okay.
All right. There we go.
All right. I forgot we were talking about, but this we're gonna talk about now.
no, no. What we were
Oh,
talking about was
uh,
that you got invited into the circle not because of what I had going on. It was because
oh
I respected what you were doing as an
no,
MC. You
no.
know what I'm saying?
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm saying that not because I was saying that not. I said you invited me around when you didn't have stuff going on. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, for
For
sure. Hell
example,
yeah.
you invited me over for your house for Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Guess what? That was right. It wasn't
Yeah.
like music going on. You just like, yo, Luck, you cool? Come meet the fam.
Yeah.
And for me,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm very gracious in that because it felt like it just was an honor, and it was kind of like a also um, a evidence of my character that you would
Yeah.
allow me that space, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
what I'm saying was, yeah, you didn't have to have something rap or hip hop going on. You was just
Right.
like, yo, let's come through, hang out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I
Hell
mean?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I think the people need to know that because they see you guys on certain like it's like a lot of times they don't get to hear um your thoughts because a lot of the interviews that you know how they go, it's programmed. It's like It's
Yeah.
super like, okay, when your last album came out, your new album came out,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah. They want clickbait. You know.
yeah, right, the same thing. And I'll be wanting to know, like, what do you think about life stuff? Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
About like, like I said, like your vacations, about your favorite food or whatever. Because we gonna cover some hip hop stories, but
Yeah.
also the real X. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I think I do want to ask you though, coming into this game, just being an MC,
Mm-hmm.
Rich, a lot of people don't pride themselves on being MCs. I do. I pride myself on being an MC, right? I know you pride yourself on being an MC. Cats like ourselves pride themselves on being an MC. It's a sport, but it's an art also. And did you always see yourself from it to go to, for example, if at the time market, at the speed of life to some of like the biggest movies and TV shows? Did you ever see it going there? Was that ever the mission in the beginning?
No, not at all. No, look. The thing is I wanted to be known as an Xzibit, the hardcore MC. That's what I
Okay.
wanted. That was my vision. That was what was I could come up with.
Yeah,
But then I've also been adventurous enough to step out of my comfort zone,
for sure.
right? And being a hustler, understanding the opportunity when I see one,
Right.
right? Being able to
Right.
see the big picture and then dissolve it down to one or two words of understanding that can clearly define what's good for me, what's not good for me.
For sure.
Um, once once I started doing at the speed of life, I had tunnel vision. That was all I wanted is hip hop,
Right.
you know, to be respected. You know what I'm saying? That was
Yeah.
that was the idea.
How did you, and being in that space, it's crazy because how I look at you, right? Or like, I'm forever like, nigga, this is Xzibit. I don't take that for granted, right? Also, I watch you be in a space with cats like King T.
Mm.
And then I watch you be in interspaces with cats like Dre and all these people and Snoop. And, how was it like with you coming in, building a name for yourself, and then being in rooms with some of these great MCs like yourself who were who had legendary albums out already and
Mm.
then did major things? How was it like, rubbing shoulders with these cats coming in? Was there ever? And I'm not talking about from a friendly competition type of way, but like I like the fan. I like to hear about the fan in you with some of these cats. How was
Yeah,
that?
man. It felt like getting recruited to the Avengers. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Like like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
like
yeah.
Tony Stark coming in and give you a super suit. Like, oh
Right,
shit. You know what
right,
I'm
right,
saying?
right, right. And then have the
It felt
perform.
amazing. Yeah, yeah. And then
Yeah,
you can focus on that for a little while, but I never got caught in that. My main objective was still the same. Like, but now I have access to these tools to get better. And
yeah,
that's how I saw it. Like, it always goes back to being able to look at it's in front of you, and people will see it 1,000 different ways, but your unique perspective and what your actions behind that define what your legacy is going to be.
for
So
sure.
yeah, it was great getting recruited, but now I got to stay on the team. You know what I'm saying? Now I got to make the
Word.
cut. Now I got, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people on the bench. Let me make sure I can play in the
Yeah,
game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
You know what's dope
yeah.
also? I think cats don't really talk about, and I know you felt this: the MC in you, the killer in you, right? Because people don't talk about the blood sport it is, right? But the killer in you as an MC, no matter who I found out about, what objective I know that you felt the same. I always aim to kill you on the track.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoever I'm gonna with, right? Because
Yes,
I'm a
yes.
fan of these people. I'm a fan of
Hmm.
all these people, all these legends, even cats that are younger cats that have come up after me, and maybe I did records with whatever. My main objective is to always be, yeah, I mean, I'm a fan for sure, but I'm trying to take your head off on this
Yeah,
record.
absolutely.
I'm not
But
actually,
that's the
but
nature of the beast.
the nature of the sport,
That's
right?
that's what we do. It's like, it comes from the battle circuit, the playing the
Yeah,
dozens. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, who studies more of their craft than others? Like
right.
who really a student of this thing? Like how well can you navigate this machine? It's just
Right.
it's just how do you dress it? How do you bring it? How can you make me listen to something? I hear something that I haven't heard from anybody else.
Yeah,
That's a good part of hip hop. How can we push each other to be better?
for sure. It's funny, in this game, you when you move around and you find yourself friends and basically coworkers in a lot of sense. Friends, it depends on how you move with certain people. I remember when I started doing street promotion back in the day, right? I would always run into the albino dude that worked for Def Jam. That's one, right? And Crawdon, right? So
Yeah,
I see him everywhere. I'm like, who's the albino dude? I see him everywhere, right?
yeah,
And then we end up meeting and then becoming friends, good friends, right?
yeah,
Crawdon's such a special dude, man.
yeah,
A great belief in God, a real humble spiritual dude, and a true creative. And then watch him go from promotion to rap, and then watch him excel in acting.
mhm,
It's been an amazing thing to see.
absolutely.
And then, but you also had your hands on that,
Mhm.
right? With Strong Arm Steady, right?
Yes.
And you guys doing classic stuff together, being on the road. I'm like, them dudes, Phil the Ag and Mitchy Slick,
Yeah,
shout out to Mitch, shout out to
yeah,
Don. These are all great dudes, man. And I think it's just a testament to like how you've been moving in this
mhm.
game, building with people, helping people, putting people in position. Damn. Get some more water here.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, helping people and just being in a space of always giving.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that gotta feel good. That gotta feel like because for you, it's just you doing what you're doing.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? I think the people when I have these kind of conversations, I'm always trying to let people know, like, yo, these dudes aren't just like celebrities that have these faces on these TV shows and movies, and you don't they kind of like not real. No, these dudes are real people who care about people,
Yeah.
and a lot of times we see people, and we are the fruits of that tree.
Right. Absolutely.
I've been a benefactor of like of crazy amounts of favors Snoop has done,
Mm.
right? Or crazy amounts of favors that X has done. Crazy amounts of favors that some of these guys in the game have. Ice Cube, just real story, real quick. I met Ice Cube one time in Palm Springs by shaking the hand as I was walking to a radio station. He was leaving, so it wasn't even like he was really looking at me. It was just like, "What's up?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the only time I ever met him. I think 3 albums ago, maybe 2 albums ago, he shouted me out on a record.
Yeah.
Like,
That's crazy.
what is life about? Like,
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
now because he didn't have to do it. He shot out a bunch of legendary people,
Right.
and he had probably after the group people did shout out. Me and Melee was probably the youngest dudes,
Right. Right.
but I haven't even met him technically. I don't even know if you remember what I just said, the radio station thing.
But
But
bro, it's
anyway,
a testament to your work, bro. Like, come on, like,
that's just the work. But also, here's the
yeah.
thing: the work is one thing. The most important thing I think to me is good character. Be
Yes.
a good
Yes.
dude. Because
Absolutely.
I don't think he would put my name on a record if me and Dub C so cool, me and Crazy Tunes, rest in peace, Crazy Tunes, that was my brother.
Mm.
And so there was an ask, I'm sure. Y'all mess with Luck like that? I like him, but I don't know if he. No, that's my nigga. It had to be like some kind of vouch before he say your name on a record, right? So it's like X speaking on my name in another building somewhere that I'm not in, right?
Right.
You
Right.
know, I think that's just real interesting when I'm talking about some of my heroes
Yeah,
and
man.
today, you know, um, in TV and film, I remember, uh, I remember a lot of your earlier movies where you
Yeah.
have little parts here and there, do
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
There were some classic moments that may have been a small part, and then you have your
Yeah.
bigger moments, right?
Right.
Co-starring and
Right.
stuff like that, right? Two two things that come up in mind for me, which I thought were legendary, two different ways. There's your 8 Mile rap Eminem battle food truck rap, right?
Uh-huh.
Uh, with such a small scene, but such a legendary uh scene, right?
Right, right.
And then you have something I felt like I watched maybe 100 times, and I felt that got a little, almost a little emotional for me. Gridiron Gang, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
Gridiron Gang, I don't think it's talked about enough. I
yeah,
don't think
yeah.
I think Gridiron Gang is such a real thing because when you dealing with kids in camp and trying to find a way, father figures, strong masculine men
Mm.
being keepers and protecting a certain type. Also, not judging that type, understanding what that type is going through. I think it was a beautiful thing to watch how Gridiron Gang came to be,
Right.
and and just the whole writing behind it, and you know, I mean, first, it was a real true story. First of all, wasn't it right?
Yeah, it was a true story. I played Coach Malcolm.
Mhm.
And the thing was, I had a special interest in doing this film, not because of just who was in it, but also, I spent, 2 years of my life in juvenile detention,
Word,
for various things,
for sure.
right? And I was pretty angry as a kid. The difference between me and those kids that were in there was a very thin line.
Hmm.
So I found hip hop. I found a place I could kick and scream,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I can get those kind of things out without hurting myself and others. And so then having that experience in my back pocket in my mind, when I got the movie offer and I found out what it was about, Camp Kilpatrick was a real place. It was actually still active while we were filming there, and it was pretty crazy to be, in that situation. I overstood it. I, I
yeah,
I I overstood what the kids are going through, and The Rock played beautifully.
for sure.
This role, this important fella, he cares. He gives a fuck.
Yeah,
And he's going to put that forward, and it worked. It worked throughout the whole film to be able to have that kind of experience and have that connection to not only the script, the writing, but also having that personal connection. And so that's why Gridiron Gang is one of my favorite films that I've done, because it's a far departure from who I am and what I've grown up as, and I was able to portray that, and it worked really well, man. I'm proud of that movie.
dope, man. It's such a great movie, man. I think when you doing arts, because there's yeah, we all want to check, right? Yeah, we want to check, but also, I don't want to ever have to, you know, think about like, do I feel comfortable taking this check? Like, you know what
Right,
I mean? Like, I want to be able to be proud of some of the things I'm actually getting a check for, right? And
right,
I think
right,
Gridiron Gang is one of them pieces where it's like that was special. I think it was special, and I think, and not only is that story beautifully told and respected in a sense. I mean, as far as I knew it to be,
mm,
it was needed because
yeah,
those kids I see every day. Like, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like you said, you was one of them.
right,
I was one of them. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm just looking like, damn, like I feel like I miss those kind of movies.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I
Movies with
mean,
heart that don't have superheroes and shit
yeah,
blowing
right,
up.
right. It's like everything's like Marvel and DC, and no disrespect to people
Right,
who I love Marvel movies. I ain't gonna front, you know what
right,
I mean? But
right,
also, when it's such abundance of them, and no, let's get back to like the real stories, like
right.
real things being told, and
Well, I
I
mean,
think,
I think what you're experiencing is the same thing that happened with music.
mm,
It's a race to the buck. It's the race to the biggest profit, and not necessarily the intention of the message or the importance of
mm,
the message. It's about how can I benefit financially from this, and so there's a lot of stuff that's not good for us that sells really well.
right,
Um, but I mean, it's like we try to put our art through this same vehicle that takes jet fuel, but we want to put rice wine in it. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like we
right,
have this boutique rice wine that we want to put in this rocket. Is it
right,
gonna work? I don't
right,
know. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like we got two different agendas here. So that's why I think we're living in a really dope time I feel comfortable putting
Yeah.
music out, because I've seen it play out. I know what's out there. I know there's people that, have certain trust in the algorithms, and certain peoples that do things and just flood the content, and that's
Mhm.
the way they do it. But I've seen that play out as well. So
Sure.
I found a sweet spot that I feel comfortable releasing music with. I think my lane has been very unique to my platform, so
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
comfortable going that way and being able to coexist in all this stuff. I think people have been drinking from a fire hose for so long that I think the the pace of music has allowed people to understand their bullshit detectors are at an all-time high. So
Right.
it just flies right past them, where it used to hit them in the face. So now they kind of ignoring it and looking for things that have substance, looking for
Yeah.
authenticity. And that's
Yeah.
why I feel like, oh, okay, cool. People are waking up. So let me put the music out that I love, and I don't want to have to chase the sound of now. I don't want to have to be current.
Yeah.
I don't want to do current.
Right.
Now. I can coexist in that space. I just have to do what I do really well.
But you always have, as far as I've seen it, you never really indulged in the trendy whatever was going on, and not because you weren't hip and didn't like something, right? It was more so like I do what I do,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
never
yeah.
really pollute what I do because essentially what happens is you can pollute it so much you become that,
Right,
right?
right, right,
If I'm an Exhibit fan, so as an Exhibit fan, I can count on Exhibit doing Exhibit every time. That
right,
don't mean Exhibit don't grow. That don't
right,
mean it doesn't get wiser, better, whatever. It just means like, but I count the core of who he is. I can count on that because there's
right,
values that come with you being you, right? And you'll
right,
never sell those values short because something's hot for 2 years,
right, right,
whatever,
right. No,
which
no.
sucks. And so, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I my favorite rap group is Public Enemy.
Mhm.
My favorite MC is the DOC. You know, um, you know,
Legendary.
Rakim. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Rakim was there. Big Daddy Kane was there. All these MCs have different sounds, different content, different. So I never expected Big Daddy Kane to sound like Public Enemy. I never like
Yeah,
that's where I come from. So the time that I had when I was able to put on it, I developed my sound, believe it or not, throughout. I had to learn on the go. So
yeah,
if you listen to my first recordings up until now, there's things that I learned on the way that have brought me to this place.
for
So now
sure.
I just feel like, I'm good with that. I want my sound to be a specific way. When you put on a Public Enemy record, you're listening to Public Enemy.
Yeah,
When you put on a Deftones record, you're listening to the Deftones. When you put on a Black Crowes record, you're listening to the Black Crowes. There's certain things that you expect from that sound. And Ice Cube
yeah.
told me something very special before too. We was actually working on Triple X2 together, and he had just corrected. We were shooting the scene where we were in the truck and we were driving through the warehouse, and our first take, I was doing this with the wheel, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, and then cut, and so that nigga was like, he was in the front seat, he looked over, he's like, hey, you really drive like that? I was like, no. It's straight face, no laugh. He's like, you really drive like that? He said, show me how you drive for real. And I was like, oh well, it's not that much movement. I'm just like, exactly.
Right,
I was like, oh. And the
right,
nigga
right.
said, yeah. He said, yeah, man, less is more, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, next shot, then you see it, yeah, that's what you get in the movie. So I
So,
was like doing, everybody think they know how to act till it's
right,
time
right.
to act. You know what I'm saying?
You doing the acting
So
thing. You doing the acting thing,
yeah,
right?
I was doing the Batman shit. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Nigga, this car going straight to the motherfucker.
yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah. And so then off screen I had some time to be able to to speak, and he was really giving me game. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yo man, you know, you just got to work at everything. Hip hop comes, easy for us, but this is a whole different animal. You got more things to paint with. You got more
Yeah.
options. You know what I'm saying? And you have to really study what this is because people give you one chance to fuck up. You know what I'm saying? If
Yep.
you make a Coca-Cola, every time they open that Coke, it better taste like Coca-Cola. The minute it tastes different, people gonna put it down
Yep.
and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that was important. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, man. I'm thinking of all these things, all these stories, and all the different times, and your different times. It's funny how different times in your life, different career moves and accomplishments. I always looked up back to where I was in these different time zones, and
Mm.
I remember, I remember you falling into the whole Dr. Dre tree,
Mm.
right? And I remember it got different. And what I mean better for sure. But I mean like sounds were bigger. And like
Yeah.
I mean, like I just remember like it was this thing where it's like how, and I'm gonna be honest how I viewed it. I'm like, oh, this nigga graduated. Right?
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because we all that's the doc. That's
Mm.
Dre.
Yeah.
And what's funny about Dre is everybody looks at him like that's Dre. Right?
Yeah.
And then now you're in this system of like, all right, nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? You're right, right.
Uh,
And to my point earlier, you showed the hell up.
mm.
You
Yeah,
showed
man.
up,
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
you
Thank
know,
you. Thank you.
and you not only did you show up, you made a legendary, which some would debate, argue. I've been there before, been in many circles. Some people say you made your greatest album. I'm talking about that time, obviously. That's one of the best albums. Hands
Yeah.
down, one of your best albums.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's funny is, so I know we're having this conversation today, right? But I remember I turned on Restless the other day, and I was just like, this nigga was on one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, they was on one, and it feels like I can't go wrong here.
Mm. Yeah.
I think what you made, and a lot of people don't make classic albums. And here's the thing, I would argue you have a few of them, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Now, Restless was my best-selling album.
Best seller for sure, for sure. Okay,
Best-selling album.
and
To date.
for sure, for sure, for sure. And I could imagine just being around it. What was the atmosphere like at that time, going into Restless, and you're creating this thing that the people hear about the doc and Xzibit, and then we know. But was Bitch Please before or after that?
Bitch Please started it. It was the first thing
Started,
we did.
right,
Yeah,
for sure,
it
started
started
that,
it. Right.
and hearing that and how good y'all sound together,
Mm.
right? In this system and this whole thing, and then Restless happened. What was it like in that atmosphere at that time? What was it like being around?
Man, it was dope because I was coming from the underground circuit, right?
Yep.
And there was records coming out. There was like, but I was kind of the newest recruit to that circle, to that legacy of things to be brought on that moment, along with Eminem, along with
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
these rappers that come from this kind of circle, and we were the chosen ones that go into these records to be part of this program. And so it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, it was like I said, it was like getting recruited to the Avengers. And now you want to show up, and now you on this huge platform, and you want to make sure that you move in the right way, and
Yeah.
you want to make sure that your outside studio activities are just as strong as your inside studio
For
activities,
sure.
because now you in the spotlight. This is you realize you in a moment, so you want to make sure you rise to the occasion. And so that
Yeah.
was the whole thing. It just got really big, really fast, right? I mean, like overnight. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like niggas knew of Xzibit. Yeah, I had dropped some records. What you see
Yeah.
is what you see. What you get
Mhm.
video. Yeah, that's great. But now this nigga has launched into the stratosphere. You know what I'm saying? And the homies didn't know how to react. You know what I'm saying? Some niggas got mad. Some niggas got
I'm
happy. Like
sure.
we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like like and I understand because
Yeah.
like we all want to make it, but when somebody actually gets to that kind of platform, what we perceive
Yeah.
as making it,
Yeah.
um, you just want to you know you think it's some magical thing, but really it's about time management, perspective, self-discipline, respect, and being prepared for it. A lot of people
Sure.
want shit to just land on their lap, but be careful what you wish for. You know what I'm saying? Because when it does land, it could be either the best thing that ever happened or the worst thing that
The
ever
word.
happened.
Yeah.
When your
Yeah.
dreams come true.
For sure. Okay. I can't just skip by this because you said it, not me. Right. There's no way we would do this whole conversation without talking about what you see is what you get now video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me look, I know I feel this way, and I'm sure many people in the chat feel this way. Absolutely, still to this day, one of the hardest videos I've ever seen in hip hop.
Wow.
Hands
Yeah.
down.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
no like I know, and I know you had to excuse me. I know you had to feel that when it dropped because I was floored because I'm watching your video and I'm just like, wait a minute, what is going on? Like, there's so much shit that's going on in the video, but it's perfectly synced with your movements as you're walking through, rapping. So it's like the reason why you have to watch it so many times because there's the first time I'm trying to focus on you, and then all this shit's going on,
Right.
right? Then I gotta watch it. Then I watch it again to see all the shit that's going on,
Yeah.
and then I watch it again to see what you missed, right?
Yeah.
You find yourself watching it a good 5 times just to be like, I think I got it, right?
Yeah.
And then you're amazed by it all. And I know you felt the climate of people saying, this is ridiculously dope.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
hard.
So that was the first time. That was the first time that I had because I had in my beginning first few albums.
Mm.
I was the one that was doing the creative direction for my videos.
Oh, word. Okay.
Paparazzi. I wanted an orchestra on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
My man Mark, rest in peace. He understood that and built around the element and built the robbery scene into that, right, and made it
Okay.
make sense.
Okay.
So it was always collaborative. When it came to what you see is what you get, there's a couple funny stories about that.
Mm.
At the time, there everybody was doing a certain type of video,
Yeah.
and when I did the song with Jesse West, it had a movement to it that I just really wanted to be on the move when
Mm-hmm.
I shot this video. So I wanted to do a one-shot video, and everybody I pitched the idea to either like said it wasn't possible, or it was too expensive, or they had all these things and special effects that would make it too expensive to do. Blah 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 blah.
Mm.
The only person that wanted to actually take it on was a guy named Gregory Dark, and he was a porn director, but he wanted to make his debut. He wanted to make a transition into doing like not
All
porn.
right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
And so, and so it was like a hard thing to sell to the record label. It's like, yo, well, show me his work. I was like, no, you know what I'm saying? I was like, no, I don't want
Never.
to. I'm not gonna. We're not going to use that as a reference point. But here's
That's
what we want to
hilarious.
do. and so then we then it ended up being 13 shots that we kind of like walked through this 1 block 2 block radius,
Mm.
and then we kind of like plotted where things could wipe, where things could take
Okay.
take place, and we could
Yeah.
pan from this to that, right? So we walked it through a couple different times, and then on the day, it just worked out really well, man. 13 shots all put together to make one. Some
Wow.
shots work better than others.
Mm-hmm.
There's different things. Like I say, like it was executed well, but if you go back and look at the video, like the first thing you can notice is um uh when the guys are propelling down and I
Yeah.
pick up the dollar bill off the floor,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I'll start walking in the street. There's a cop car that swings into the frame and hits a guy, and he flies up in the air. And you know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
lands on the ground. It's in the scene. It's in the video.
Whatever.
It's Yeah, when when I'm walking
Yeah,
across the
yeah.
street and the cop car swings in, it hits a guy, and the motherfucker flies up in the air. He lands, and he gets up and starts running again. That's the only reason we can use it, because you know what I'm saying. Like he didn't die.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's you know what I'm saying.
What?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go back and look at this shit.
I'm
Look,
definitely gonna check it
look, look, look. Flavor Flav wasn't supposed to be there. That nigga was just happened to be driving by and jumped out and was in the fucking video. That
What?
nigga, he did not confirm he was gonna be there. Yeah, he shouted
Wow.
out in the song, but
Right,
he
right.
was not on the schedule to be there. You know what I'm saying? That nigga came by. I
That's
don't know if
crazy.
somebody told him out of whatever, but he showed up
That's
and he
crazy.
was supposed he was supposed to be in a different park. But that nigga, he got there right when the car scene was about to blow up. That nigga just stood next to the pole. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow.
oh,
That's crazy.
look. When you go in the liquor store scene where I'm coming out, where you see Raz and Saphir in there.
Yep, yep. Hmm.
Saphir, Raz walks out, I walk out, but Saphir never walks out the store because you can see behind me when I'm walking out, that nigga got caught in the motherfucking, he got caught in the little turnstile. And that nigga couldn't get out. That nigga was like this in the back. It's crazy. Look,
I'm definitely
yeah, okay, look, two more. Look, go to the scene where I'm walking past the window where the niggas jump out the window.
yeah, yeah.
Look at the box. Don't pay attention to nothing else. Just look at the box. That motherfucker, it's empty to the motherfucker. It fall over and it's empty. You can see it's empty. The nigga jump. You know what I'm saying? You don't even see it. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right. I know.
Until you see it.
Right.
And then look. There's one more. One more. I think this is the best one. When I'm going towards the end of the video, about to walk back into the house, there's a nigga that get out from underneath a truck, and then there's some people arguing, right?
Right.
The girl clearly has some clothes, right? She throws the clothes at the nigga, and when they hit the ground, it make a TV sound. She's like, you know what I'm saying?
What?
What? Nigga, it's clearly some clothes.
Right. Clearly
She
closed.
threw the clothes, and that shit sound like a whole TV just fell on the ground.
What was in the clothes?
he,
What was in the clothes?
yeah, he wanted, yo, but anyway, all of that stuff going together, like, it's like I could sit back and like look at what didn't go right, but really, all in all, just that just tells you perspective. It's like people saw that video and they saw
Yeah,
what we saw when we created it. We
for
can
sure.
nitpick it to death, but for you know, even as imperfect as it was perfect. It set a
What?
standard, and it was the first time that I was able to realize that I don't have to just think about making a song.
Right.
I gotta see about presenting this the way I see it and hear it in the way
Sure.
I want it to be absorbed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I gotta think bigger than the music.
Because you said it yourself. You said when you heard the song, it felt like you were on the move. So I need you to see what I saw when I
Right.
heard it.
When I
You know?
felt it, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now I have the ability to take these things, it's like alchemy, being able to
Yep.
take these invisible thoughts, and now I can create something and not only make you see it, but make you feel it the way I felt it.
For sure. You know what? Let me. So, and hearing that, and we're not going to be here for too much longer, but I just think I need to know about the video too. When okay, you film the video, and then you go to the editing room, right? Did you catch all that in the editing room at the
Yeah,
time?
I saw it the first time, and I was like, you know what?
Fuck you. We're not doing it again. That's what we're not
No,
doing.
nigga, we can't. We only had enough. The budget
Right.
was super tight.
For
We could
sure, for
only
sure.
shoot 13 shots. Every shot had to work. Hey man,
Man,
look.
that's one of those things that is imperfectly perfect,
Yes.
right? It's like
It worked. It
it
just
works.
worked.
That's it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
works, and everything that happened made it what it was.
Exactly.
That's just,
Yeah.
I mean, that's so dope, man. I always been with. I always with that. It's crazy. I never asked you about that video outside of this. That's insane because I think it's
Hell yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
greatest videos in hip hop history to me.
Yeah.
It was always an amazing video because you
Yeah.
just kept moving.
Yes.
And stuff
Yes.
was going on, and even I was like, like the explosions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was like walking through. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was the only way because my particular at the time you got to remember the climate. We had just come off of the Death Row era, the G
Yeah,
Funk era.
yeah,
You know, it was rappers like myself that were trying to make a stake a claim, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
cats like myself, Raz, Saphir, Crooked Eye, all of us, Will I Am, all of us were kind of coming out of the same soil. And so I wanted to do things that were kind of different and kind of set my brand, set what is this going to be? And so
Hmm.
I was still developing what that was, and so that was a big part of it, my creative vision of what I feel with the music, and
Right.
because I'm doing a genre that I feel has been done and respecting those that come before me that have fantastic videos, the Far
Yeah,
Side, the drop video where
yeah,
they going backwards, and you know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
I was
And you know what I'm saying? Like conceptual things that really caught my eye. I was like, ugh, the Fight the Power video, iconic. I wanted to
yeah,
make things that stuck visually as they
for sure.
did musically. Right. And so
Yeah.
that was my attempt at doing that. And then I just kept going at it and at it and at it. And that's how I got to even producing and doing my own visuals, from that point on.
Do do we know what Gregory Dark did after that video?
I do not know. I gotta Google it. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? No, no.
Okay.
Actually, he started getting a lot of mainstream jobs. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
dope.
Like, yeah, yeah. He actually did pretty well. Now that I think about it, yes.
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
He
Yeah,
didn't
that's
go back to porn.
right, right. Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
hilarious,
yeah, yeah,
man.
yeah.
X, are there any underground, untold stories of you battling any greats or legendary people we would consider legendary like yourself? Anybody that maybe some closed studio sessions that just happened? It wasn't really televised. It wasn't really filmed. Any of those
Mm.
things happen with you and some of the guys?
Yeah, man. Back in back when I first started, I was with this collective called 360,
Hmm.
and it was out of Pasadena,
Hmm.
and James Broadway, producer, Broadway
Hmm.
at the time, but it was King T's camp, and there was a whole bunch of guys around, and it was like gladiator school, you know. But once I started home, because I had bars, but I didn't know song structure. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
But really, what it was is, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the friendly competition and
Yeah,
walking into a room knowing, that was what it was. So our battlegrounds was like Unity, the Wake Up Show. You
yeah.
know what I'm
Recipe.
saying? It was like, yeah, it was like black. Yeah, but then niggas didn't really call it battling. It was
Right.
like cipher. You know what I'm saying? Like niggas would get together in a circle and cipher. And then
Yeah.
you was in the battle when it start answer and call and
Yeah.
response. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like some
Sure.
guy always going right after you go and
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, cool. And then you escalate, he escalate, and now it's a battle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
for
now
sure.
people are like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
For
So
sure.
so that was like regular shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like standing outside the whiskey, you know what I'm saying? On
Yeah.
Sunset and
Yeah.
fucking battling, you know what I'm saying, in front of motherfucking, David Faustino's club. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
so there's never been like a battle where I was like somebody now or what am I like, nah, me and Corrupt ain't never, you know what I'm saying, like went up like, oh nigga, you know what I'm saying, like we ain't never did that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, yo,
Yeah.
we in here making records, fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll battle you niggas, you know what I'm saying, we'll
Right.
battle you niggas, but we
Right.
ain't, we got on the same jersey, nigga, like, you know
Right.
what
Right.
I'm
And
saying. Lakers, nigga.
and I remember I remember going to Unity. Like I said, Recipes Bigger B. Unity was it was heaven for a young MC like myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just it's where I saw it's where you can see. I remember one night I went. It was where I saw Sadat X and Boot Camp Click and Tash just spitting bars
Yeah.
and breakdancing over here. And you know what I mean? Like it was just like if you love hip hop, this is where you would be at. Like you would be
Absolutely. Yeah.
right and ciphers and where you could just jump out somewhere and just start busting it. There was a respect for whoever's dope. It wasn't to your point. It wasn't like you just battle niggas just because you. It was like if he's dope and I'm dope, and we just dope. We shook hands. I learned your name. Oh, what's
Right.
your name? Oh,
Right.
I see you whatever, and it was that. You know, and I love those. I love those stories or that time because I try to. Well, I lived it, but I also try to tell a lot of the cats that came after me
Mhm.
about what it was like. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Why we care about lyrics so much, and because it's where we come from. And watching
Right.
this game, I did have a question for you about. I heard somebody mention this one time, and I want to just pick your brain about what you think about this. They said hip hop um, is suffering the same fate as jazz.
Mm.
Right? What is your thoughts on? And let me give you some context. They were basically saying what I think you think I'm saying is that it's kind of like a dying art, and by corporations took over, people sold it out, the artists are ripping from it, not pouring into it, and yes, there will be some artists still rapping and still putting out some tape somewhere, but it's gonna be like jazz. As beautiful as jazz was and as big as it was, it's still that thing where a lot of people just don't really, you know what I mean? It's more of an old. It looks at as people look to it like an old art. It's not new young people coming in liking jazz. You know,
Right. Right.
what do you think about that statement that was made about jazz and hip hop?
I don't think it's accurate.
Okay,
I think there's a issue with the business of music in any genre.
period.
Uh,
Right,
but
right.
I think when you let people control the narrative of things, then it's easy for them to dismiss it. So I think there's jazz still exists. There's people that are have
Yeah,
doctorates in jazz composition and music writing, and you know what I'm saying, like it still exists. I don't
yeah,
think they've been able to capitalize on it like they have hip hop. You
right.
know, but hip hop is by no means going anywhere. I think it's evolving. I think people are trying to take from it and create their own subgenres.
Yeah,
You have a Travis Scott, you have, the Playboy Cardi, and then you have, the traditional guys, that are coming out, the Coast Contras. You got the,
yeah,
what I'm saying, like that are youthful, but still have a admiration for that type of sound. I think what we're seeing is the evolution of more than just one genre of hip hop, right?
ah, yeah. I like that.
And
I like that. Yeah,
right. And so, then again, it takes a long time for the people, the powers that be, to adjust to that.
mm,
But again, we got to control the narrative. We got to stop allowing people to pit us against each other.
yeah,
And not saying we got to have a kumbaya moment. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? But an exchange of information and understanding our life lessons that we've been through. You know, and being able to give that insight to younger artists that are coming up is what they don't want.
right.
So that's why ageism is a thing. That's why we
Yeah,
they want the young guys to go through the same thing they put us through and keep that dominance and power because they want control.
right.
That's why streaming exists. When CDs stopped selling and they thought that was gonna go forever and downloads happened, and remember music was free for a while. LimeWire, Napster, them niggas
Yep,
was getting
yep.
whole albums for nothing.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So now it's even a tighter clamp. You know what I'm saying? It's less than however much percent for each stream. It takes 1,800 to 1,500 streams to make
Yeah.
one record sale. That speaks volumes about what's possible and what's
Yeah.
not possible. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people that are taking $700 billion, $700 million, advances and bonuses. Then not let alone the money that they're getting for money just taken out of the artist people, the people that created and making it an uphill climb. And so now, you look at these young artists that see people that, do kind of step out of character or do, things that are opposite to what they really are,
Yeah.
in order to attain that type of success. It sends a very, very, very strong and a very negative message that this is
Yeah.
the only way, right? But I feel like now now we have an opportunity to kind of come in and like, okay, little bro, like, or sis, you know what I'm saying, it's okay to be individual, it's okay to stand out, look, I pride myself in taking a long way around things,
Right. Right.
like immediate gratification, easy come easy go, you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
I was like, let me take a long way and let me run my race. Nobody wins the game the same way. Everybody runs their own race,
That's
and
a fact.
you can't look at what other people are doing or how green their grass is to tell how green yours should be. You know, God doesn't open doors until you're ready to walk through them. And as ready as you may feel, and as important as you think you are, there are things that you're not prepared for. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Until you prepare for them. And if you got people that's looking out for you, they'll tell you, you'll listen, and that's the perfect case scenario. But most of the time, if you're
Mm.
like me, you want to run into a brick wall 1,000 miles an hour with your face. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You need your face first. Bow. You know what I'm saying? Like that's sometimes that's the only way we learn,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so
For sure.
after a few dozen times of doing that to yourself, it's a choice to do that to yourself.
Yeah.
You could, and then sometimes you could switch your priorities, get some maturity going on about yourself, understand that this is not a game. You face your mortality, you face consequences from your decisions, bad and
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not in a state of total numbness from drinking, smoking, doing all these other things. You got to grow up, and you got to
For sure.
realize that this is a privilege to be here, and it's not something that's owed to you. You don't deserve it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's a lot of people that work hard that never even get the shots you're making, right?
Right.
So take it serious. Have some fun. It's not church. It's not the military. You know what I'm saying? Have some fun,
Mm.
but make sure you realize that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Once you get on that motherfucking dragon, you know what I'm saying, never let it go. It's gonna try to
Yeah.
buck you off, you know what I'm saying? But keep it
Right.
riding, you know what I'm saying? And that's where we at.
Man, you really got me. First of all, I appreciate you saying that because I was thinking about that heavy, and I've been thinking about it. Like, man, is that right? Is that where we're going? And as a person who is of this culture, in this culture, it's a sad thing to maybe even hear, right? As you got to speaking about like the natural things it does, the art form, it's not going nowhere. It's an art form. It's been set in stone. So many people love it. So many carriers of it that still care. Um, I also was thinking about like, damn, like if they're looking for, like you said, it's not maybe not being marketed the same kind of way, or maybe like a jazz, whatever. But then as you said that, I was kind of checking myself because I was like, yeah, why did you care if it was that? Because at first you want to keep it to yourself,
Mm,
right? I heard the stories. I was a baby then, but I was in the '80s and '90s. I was just getting my legs and really getting to my mind about what was going on, and I know the whole what it felt like for y'all to feel like it was getting away from
hmm
us, culture.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, now you don't want to. Now if it's coming back to you, you should relish in that, right?
hmm
You should be. It should be a good thing, and also the carriers and the protectors of this thing, this culture, it it's a beautiful thing either way, in a sense. I always say art needs balance, right? Even hip hop
Exactly.
needs balance, right? So we need it. I needed a Mob Deep like I needed a Lil Kim. I needed
Yeah, yeah,
I want like I did.
yeah,
I
yeah.
so I've never found myself talking crazy about a Meg or a Nicki when I know what I felt about the hardcore album Lil Kim.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
know
Yeah,
I kept that cover. Every dude kept that cover on the CD case. You know,
yeah.
Lil Kim
The
cover.
squat.
Yeah, the squat, right?
Yeah.
Like, knew what I felt, and then the music was hard, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but I think to your point, it's if you love it, you're gonna love it still, right?
absolutely,
If
absolutely.
you love it, you're gonna love it still, no matter what happens with that, and being able to just rhyme or rap or and like you said, like I'm saying about you and your career, you've built a career to where people are looking for Exhibit. So no matter what y'all doing, if Xzibit can do this thing, one of the many things he does well, he can do this thing also, and the people are going to get it because they support him in that also. And even if nobody's selling nothing, if somebody like Luck Raps and Luck Raps is being presented on this platform or whatever, they'll go get it, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
And
Yeah, I think we
yeah,
just living in a time where people, um, the middleman is taken out of the way. Even though middlemen try to really hard to insert themselves, they haven't perfected it yet. So people can step
uh,
out of the way. People can
yeah,
go around the middleman. And it doesn't always work in this time.
sure.
People's attention spans are really shorter. Um, and so you have a smaller window of opportunity to say something important, and I think that's
Yeah,
where people are looking. It's boiled down to, don't waste my time with this. If I want to be entertained like that, there's plenty of stuff out there, But I think people, the serious listener, you have younger cats that are listening to records from the '90s, 2000s, and even before. They have that audience. You got to understand. Like, listen. You can shoot for that if that's what you want, but
right.
if you really love what you're doing and you really on a path of being a unique artist that is standing behind your music and not rushing to the finish line, but just running your race, you'll have an amazing trip,
Right.
and that just doesn't go for entertainment. That goes for anything you're passionate about. You have to be able to look at it from and be realistic with yourself,
Mhm.
l- manage expectations, and be satisfied with your results, because at the end of the day, you back out all of that out.
Right.
Time is the most important thing we have. Time, we don't know how much we have, we don't know how much we
Yeah.
spent, we don't know how much is left. You have to make sure that you living with a purpose.
Yeah.
And if you doing this to make some bread because you think money is going to make you happy, I, I I wish everybody on the planet could at least experience having $1 million in their life and to do whatever you want with it. And
Right.
to at the end of the day know that ultimately you may have some moments of joy, but it's not going to make you happy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Sure. Yeah.
it'll fix some things temporarily,
Mhm.
but really that has to come from within. Whether you
Yeah.
have $1, $1 million, $1 billion, there's
Yep.
still problems going to be had. So I really wanted to be able to have this voice in music, which I think I found, and leave it better than the way I found it. You know what I'm
For sure.
saying? Like even if I just do that, even if there's just a evolution of myself as an artist, as a man that transforms in front of my audience, right?
Mhm.
That's worth the testimony. That's where Kingmaker comes in. That's what I feel like my direction of using my voice is about. You know?
Yeah. 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 Do you feel I just want to have a couple more questions and we'll be about here. One, I want to ask you about the climate in today with women in rap, right? Not this other, and this obviously you know me. This is a comment where
Mm-hmm.
I shit on any women and let alone any black women. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
we're not never doing that, right? Um, but there's people have been saying it's a shift, even though the numbers are still way outstanding, men and women. But people say it's a shift, right? And how do you feel about the climate of women MCs today? And has it changed much from back in the day to now?
Yeah.
Well, obviously it changed. I'm not going. That's a dumb. I'm not going to ask like I don't know the answer to that part, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
obviously changed, right? But
Yeah.
how do you see it now in the climate today in modern rap culture, as far as the presence of the female MC?
Yeah. Okay. So it's crazy how you know people forget. They have short memories. And not that long ago. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like women weren't allowed to vote. You know what I'm saying? Like what
Very,
what
very recent.
what women weren't allowed to wear pants. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like
right.
remember it was a big deal. Like
Yeah.
women are wearing pants. You know what I'm saying? Like are you fucking stupid? How many years? How many years did we have Two Live Crew and NWA? You know, and
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, and that was blasting through the speakers. You know, bitches ain't shit but hoes and
Right.
tricks.
Yeah.
Lick
Yeah.
on these nuts and suck the dick. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
hey, we want some pussy. Hey, man, listen. Everything goes in cycles. It's
Right.
shocking. It's shocking because they've now took it,
Yeah.
owned it, perfected it, and now we hearing it. You know what I'm saying? It's like niggas shouldn't be walking around clutching their pearls like, oh my God, I can't believe what she said.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah, you see the
Right.
history of this shit,
Right.
man. Like, don't be shy. Listen, dude. Listen. We've had a passing of some great music through our systems. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
From Roxanne Shante,
Hmm.
being able to go to Lauryn Hill, going to what I'm saying, like Lady of Rage,
Yeah.
Queen Latifah. You know what I'm
Heather
saying?
Benny and all. Yep.
Right,
Yep.
right, right. But
Yep.
now it goes back to the original point. Don't be shocked. Don't
Yeah.
be shocked that some of the biggest records are based in that element
Right. Right.
because it goes back to the profitability of these records and who's benefiting from that.
Yep.
And ignorance is bliss. And that like this big thing, you know what I'm saying? So what do we want to do here? Do we want our we want to say what we want to say about, fucking bitches and, bitch, I'll fuck you up and this and that, you know what I'm saying? Like we want to say all that and then they just sit there quietly and go, well, bro, thank you. That sounds great. No, they're gonna have an adverse reaction,
Yep.
equal opposite reaction to like, okay, so if that's what y'all saying to get people to react, we gonna say it too. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because they
Yeah.
went from being the feature to the primary artist. And why should they say anything different? We didn't. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
so again, these things are going to be offensive now, but then eventually it has to settle into something else because we have to see them get older. We have to see them
Yeah.
mature, and
Yeah.
we got to see how their kids are going to react to what they saying and see if that changes any direction. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
right now, I feel like it's that time, like after they got voting rights and after they got to wear pants and after they
Sure.
got to be able
Yeah.
to, go and leave home and get their jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is dumb, basic shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And we over here like being offended by nigga, well, oh, man, what we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Let it run. Let it
That's
run.
very true. And I remember I was having a conversation with my one of my partners the other day. They were talking about women in rap, right? We're talking about we know what section of women they were talking about because obviously there's your, like you say, your Rhapsodies and your people, your MCs who are just
Rod Digger, you know what I'm
not
saying?
figures,
Like,
you know what I mean. So
come on.
we have the MCs. But I was having a conversation with one of my partners. He was like, "Man, I just don't see how they talk about all this stuff. Back in our day." I'm like, "Stop it." So I said, "Stop."
Don't.
Because back in our day, there was a group called HWA, Hoes with Attitudes, and
Yeah.
they rapped about all the things, like right,
Yeah.
right. I said,
Yeah.
Lil Kim lost her album. We know what's up with that.
Yeah. Yeah. She was
Foxy
making
Brown
Sprite can she was making Sprite cans disappear in her mouth.
disappeared in her mouth,
Shocking.
right? So don't do that, right? So,
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
I think that here's the thing. I think but what's part of the problem is that people would complain about that rap, that kind of rap, right? The raunchy kind of like sexual, hypersexual rap, which has always been here. To your point, has always been here. But if you focus on the rappers that are out that make an amazing, to their point, the type of record they're looking for, that they're saying they're looking for, there's artists out here making that.
Hmm.
There's artists that are they're female MCs, women MCs that are killing it, that are lyrics first, that aren't all twerking, show their ass type of
Hmm.
whatever, right? That's why I say it's a balance. But
Right.
go get what you want and stop
Right.
focusing on, because to your point, it's always been here. And when it
Yeah.
wasn't here, it was the guys talking about all the stuff,
Yeah. And
all the
that's
things.
what that was that's what it was. Are you thinking? Are you saying? Are you making these records because you really feel this way,
Right.
or and this is what you're about, or are you making this record because you think that's what's going to make you successful and make your dreams come true?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying? And it's
yeah.
scary to go out there and again be up the way I felt when I first got signed. Like, is this going to be accepted? Am I going to be able to, you know, be, the artist that I need to be, because it is the record business. Can I sell enough
Right,
records to still, be in the music business, but still be, you've battling a whole bunch of things that people don't really, understand creatively until you're in that position.
right,
So
right,
if
right,
this
right.
is working by, putting on some booty shorts and twerking and, saying, talking about your genitals for
Mhm.
24 hours, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Listen, they got a blueprint from somewhere, and so,
They
and
got
it's selling, you know what I'm saying?
for
And
sure.
we can't throw stones and then hide our hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, straight up,
Like,
straight up.
look, we got to work through it, and hopefully, there's enough people that see that, understand that, know that it's gonna, there's some people that do it better than others, but everybody can't do it.
Right.
That's what's gonna bring me to my point. Group thinking is very popular these days.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah,
Not having your own opinion, or having your own opinion but not being able to stand on it or feel validated enough to speak on your opinion is a sad state of affairs. People
it
don't
is.
want to be judged for thinking differently, and some people take that to the extreme and be wrong as fuck, but still blurting their opinion out like, like it's valid. You know what I'm saying? So
Right,
then there's
right.
that dynamic. It's just a different time for information and understanding and
Yeah.
comprehension. There's some
Yeah.
people that understand that, look, this this is a red cup, but
Mm.
there's somebody in the chat be like, nah, nigga, that's blue. You know what I'm saying? And fuck you, nigga. You know what I'm
And
saying? Like, and be dead fucking serious.
right, and wrong.
And we will engage. Like, no, nigga, you clearly see this is a red cup, nigga.
Right.
No, nigga. And you waste your time and energy trying to get somebody who's never gonna see it any other way. Yeah, it's a weird time that we're living in. But for those who comprehend, and know that this is the time we're in, like be good with the people and communicate to the people that are loving you, you love them back. And I think it'll be a solid journey for you. It'll be gratifying, and you'll get to where you're supposed to be, not where you
For
want
sure.
to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Afro Butterfly. I agree with you, Afro. But she said, all of them matter. As much leeway and creativity we give to the guys, we have to give to the gals. No cherry picking.
Correct.
Full on agree. Xzibit saying the same. You said the same thing. Or full on agree. It's like, we can't split the women up and say one side is doing not a good thing, and the other side is doing a quote unquote true way to do that art form. It's like, no, when there wasn't a female MC in sight, y'all let the guys get it all off. All the things they let the guys get it all off. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree 100% on that.
Now we just as bad as the niggas that wouldn't let women wear pants. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Like, why are you offended by that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
right.
Wear pants? Like, it was a
Yo,
liberating time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Come
that's
on, man. Yeah,
insane when you think
yeah,
about it. It's
yeah,
insane.
yeah.
But Kingmaker.
Yes.
So to the chat,
Mm.
I'm sorry, but I gotta say it. I had the privilege of hearing this album.
Wow.
You didn't, but I did. So I will say that since I'm one of you and you are one of me, we heard it. So just take my word for it when I say that this is an incredible, incredible project. I'm looking
Thank
dead
you.
at camera. This is
Thank
an
you.
incredible, incredible album. And I'll say top to bottom, one to maybe 20, Track is it track 20?
Yeah, it's 20 tracks on
Absolutely
the
amazing.
release. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I was floored hearing the records. They are big in sound, amazing production, lyricism and concepts first, right? And I say that because when they're not just making songs to make songs, they busting. And even the songs that are way more conceptual than others, the rapping still never slacks in any of that. And I heard the records from top to bottom. To me, first go listen. To be honest, there was no skips. Um, I'm listening to them with some very good speakers also. But it's a very super dope album, and I can't wait for the release of this. Let's get into Kingmaker.
Yeah.
Um, First, when can we expect this, right? And
Ma-
also,
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
when can we expect this? And also, break down Kingmaker, the title in itself. Okay,
Okay. So, album drops May 16th.
May 16th.
Yeah, we had it scheduled earlier. March 28th was the original date, but we had to move it because we wanted to have the physical copies ready. There was some last minute production that came on board that
Okay,
we it had to be on the record. So some administration things had to move around, and it was worth it. So May 16th is the solid date for sure. The rain, hail, shine is coming out.
right.
Um, and you know, I built this record because essentially it was going to be my last record. It was going to
Okay,
be the last thing that I
yeah,
ever put out. That was the mindset coming into it.
okay,
But I started this record 5 different times, and I did it because the music that I was putting out didn't have the spirit. It didn't have
mm,
it didn't click. It was just like that's not it. So, I say about 8, 9 months ago, Tato, who's my right hand,
mm,
Tato brought in this producer named Big Duke and this engineer called Quest.
okay,
And Focus had already been sitting next to me, kind of like hashing these
mm,
starts and stops out with me.
mm,
So there's something that happened in those sessions that just, we did a song called Play This at My Funeral. And that was from my guy 21. He calls himself Coach now.
okay,
But that record kind of set the tone. I got it. Let me build this body of work
yeah,
that is now, for me, now, the truth. And let me take every kind of this understanding I have, this clarity I have. Let me pick and choose these messages and these ideals and these, self-disciplines and this compass that I navigate with. Let me put this into a body of work that's very entertaining and very up to date. But it's my sound, it's my voice, it's what I'm supposed to be saying, how I'm supposed to be saying it, and who I'm supposed to be saying it to. So, that's what really built this body of work. And like I said, we spoke earlier. I could do a whole bunch of gun slap, booty tap,
mhm,
regular rap
mhm.
all day long. But now I think it's important that because it's so much in the marketplace, when you use your voice the way you need to use it, you're gonna attract the people, right? Don't worry about standing out. It's better to stand out than to fit in,
Mhm.
Um, you know, and that's where I feel comfortable putting this record out, Kingmaker. It's time for it. I think
Yeah,
people are. I think I'm gonna catch people off guard, because there's a preconceived notion of what I'm supposed to be doing or what I'm supposed to sound like or how you view me personally.
right, right.
I love that. Being an underdog has never been, bothersome or scary for me. Being underestimated has always been a gift because, you, I'll punch you in the face. You know what I'm saying? Don't fucking, don't think I'm not gonna punch you in the face. Now, like, you can believe what you want to believe until you get punched in the face.
Right.
I told you, nigga. I told you. And people keep, like he ain't gonna do it again. Like, oh, okay, nigga, wow, no problem. I'll be right back. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be
And
right
people,
back.
yeah. Okay, nigga, all right, I'll be right back. And so, the being able to create this album at this time in 2025 and be able to, yeah, man, I feel really strong. I feel really clear, and I haven't had this type of kind of perspective and direction in music. Like I've had some bright spots,
Yeah, yeah.
and I've had some great moments, but this is the first album I feel like from top to bottom it is exactly the way I want it. It is captured my journey. It's captured my love for this music. It's captured my intensity. It's not preachy. It's not none of that. It's very
Yeah.
unique to my body, but to my catalog. Very unique to my catalog. Um, and I think it's gonna catch people off guard because they haven't heard me this way. You know what I'm saying? No self doubt, no
No.
no mistakes, no
Mm-mm.
like this. Hey, check this out. I got it. I got it.
And,
Yeah,
and
I understand it now.
right,
yeah,
right. But and you're rapping better.
yeah. Yes,
You, you,
yes,
you're
yes.
you're already you're already an MC's MC.
Mm,
But there's another level. It's like as you grow and excel and elevate in your career and life and understanding, right? Even through different kind of heartache and sorrows in life that happens, but it builds you stronger to make these to see the world different, right? In
yeah,
a new view. And if you're growing, that's going to forever happen to you. So to see you in a space of creating this album, uh, I've listened to the end results and of where you are, and I'm just like, damn, like this is exactly where he needs to be.
yeah.
In this pop,
This is the album that I've been I was put here to make. This
yeah,
is the one. This for me. This, I like it, it's a culmination of everything that I've learned to this point. Sonically,
yeah,
spiritually, emotionally. Like I'm excited for people to hear the growth and the cohesiveness of my thoughts in this record, and really get the message at the end of the day. Um, look, you don't have to sell the truth, and that's what this album is.
yeah, yeah.
It is a truth telling about myself and my experience, and hopefully a lot of people can relate to that. And I put this out for not only myself, because I got to do it for me first. If I don't love it, then nobody will.
Right.
I poured myself into this record so that you guys could hear where I am and
Yeah.
feel how I feel and feel the strength. And that feels good to be able to put that out in 2025 after all this time of making these kind of records and still be passionate about it. That's what it's about.
And just to name a few, um, I'm talking Busta Rhymes, Jason Martin, formerly known as Problem,
Yeah.
um, Simba, Royce the 5'9", Q, yeah, man, and Be Real,
yeah.
King T, like
Mm.
fam, this it felt good as a fan of hip hop to get my fix, right? To get this sounds like it was born in, which it was born in and from the culture. It's not
Mm.
a visitor. It's not a tourist. It's not somebody trying to make something. This sounds like you in your bag because you are. It's like I'm in
Yeah.
my bag of being who I am today. I'm the best version of myself I am today, and we all hope to be better versions of that tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And as I listen to this album, you just sound better,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And which you hope, which as an MC, you hope to be. I hope that
Yeah.
if I when I decide to do an album again, I hope I sound way better than I did
yeah.
before, just skill wise and topic wise and what I think about things.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Will I Am said the same thing. I played the album down for him. He actually produced on the record. He did a song called Success, which is like a spoken word joint I did.
fire,
Yeah,
fire.
and
It's like a
I
little
can't wait
interlude.
for people to hear that. Yeah,
Fire.
but he said that. But then one of my childhood friends I went to high school with, he was we were together, and he said, "Yo, bro, this is your 2001. This is your Chronic.
Mm,
This is your
wow.
this is what happened after Restless. This was the album that was supposed to come after that to be your 2001." And
Damn, I
I
agree with
felt
that.
him. I
Wow.
felt him. Yeah, I was like, wow, that's a dope way to look at it because if you seeing it like that, my friends don't pull no punches. They'll be like, "Yo, that shit was whack,
Yeah,
nigga."
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh man,
for
like
sure.
nigga, I heard that shit, nigga. Don't you
Right.
ever do that shit again, though. They pull no punches. So they've been following since the beginning. So he he's like, yo. After he heard it, he was like, yo, this is different. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen all of your records. I've seen everything, your features, but this one is sets it apart. This is like a whole different thing. And I had to take some time, to myself and not rush back into anything.
Right.
There was one point when I said, like, I was starting to stop in the albums that I was just regurgitating what I thought, you know,
Mm,
my music should sound like,
yeah, yeah,
and it just didn't sit on me. But when I did play this at my funeral, it sat on me, and it brought an emotion out of me that and I went down that chamber. And all of the songs have that now. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Being vulnerable, being real. Not straying off into something
No,
that I want to be perceived as, but really just focusing on the now. It's good.
you did an awesome job, man, with this album. I'm excited to hear what the people think.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
and also, it has inspired me. It has inspired me to okay, you stepped away because you're trying to get some things straight for me and how I felt about the business. But even talking to you, it's like, okay, you have an understanding that okay, the business is one thing, but the art is the art. And if
Right.
you, if you need to scratch that itch, then I feel so much more comfortable even hearing this and hearing how you view it and who you are and still contributing to the sport of hip hop.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It makes me think, who am I not to do that?
Right. Yo, Luck, man, I listen. I don't know if anybody, has told you this, but I really applaud the positivity that you put out and the hard choices that you've had to make. It's not easy to do what you're doing. It's not easy to be transparent with the public, which a lot of people only want to put the good parts and the celebrations and never the struggle.
Right.
And if they
Yeah.
do, if they do portray struggle, it is as a victim.
If,
But
yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
not doing that. So
Mhm.
there's always a seat at the table for you, Luck, because you are skilled. You put your 20,000 hours into being a fucking the best artist possible, right? We all get discouraged, but we would love to have a bad luck album. Or have a good luck album. You know what I'm saying? It's how you
Yeah,
dress it. It's
for
it's
sure.
how you keep your environment. My circle's really small.
Yeah.
Nigga, nigga, we entourage back in the day, nigga. It was carloads
Right.
of niggas pulling up when one nigga's supposed to
Right.
come. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like your perspective on things from then till now, the listeners need to hear that. And
Wow.
and if and some of and don't get discouraged about the messaging because remember, nobody does it better. Nobody can do it better. By the DOC had no cuss words on it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, man.
it's
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
it's a way to deliver and understand that. Listen, there's 1,000 different ways that can be done. Am I gambling on myself to be able to put something out that only I can live with? Because at the end of the day, you got to get up and look in the mirror and live with
Yeah.
yourself, right? Am I putting something out there that I can't stand on? You know what I'm saying? That's where you get into other
Yeah.
things. You know what I'm saying? So I would implore you. The worst thing we could do is put down our dreams for something else. The dreams is what makes us, you know what I'm saying, like strive for it. It gives us something to live for, right?
Right.
And and
Right.
and listen, look. You can take a break. You can take a water break. You can look at your watch, but pretty soon you gotta pick up. Let's go. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Like
I
you didn't come this far just to come this far, Luck. So that's my
yeah,
two
man.
cents. You know?
I appreciate you saying that, man. I really do. Yeah, man, and I don't take it for granted. And I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Yeah,
What I just
yeah,
heard musically, what you're saying to me directly, and how I feel is all lining up.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm just appreciative of this whole conversation, man. You sat with me here. People don't even know. Let me tell y'all this real quick. Not to tell you Xzibit business, but he's only here in the city because he had said he would do this for me, a live stream with me, a conversation with me, and he wanted me to hear the album. So he's only here because of this. He and after this, he's leaving the city. So
Yeah, I just came in from Switzerland. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. We gonna
do
keep it
y'all
moving.
understand? Do y'all understand? That's what I was saying about him and the person he is that this when you see hear stuff like this. So, man, look, X, I don't want to take more of your time. Thank you, bro.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you for
All
this
love.
conversation. I think it was a lot of gems, and we were blessed with a lot of stories, and just the way you think as a human being. I think people are very appreciative of of not just Exhibit the rapper, because we are definitely appreciative of that and fans of that of who you are, but also the person, the man who you are. You showed great honor here, integrity. You are a man of integrity, very integral with how you move, and I think they're just blessed to, and I'm blessed myself to be able to have, they can listen to this conversation today. And I thank you so much for doing this.
Yo, come on, look, man. Look. We brothers. We're gonna be
Yes, sir.
always family. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
It's
sir.
bigger than all that. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Like I want to see you successful, and that does. And I'm not just talking about financially. I'm talking about successful and accomplished in who you are in
My
your
man.
spirit, and that's what's most important, man. You know, things are changing, but
Yeah,
the one thing that will never change is our circle. You know what I'm saying? Our people. You know, people that I can call, that if something outside of music was happening, that I would
yeah,
want to have, in as counsel, someone with a real perspective, and somebody with their feet on the ground.
yeah.
Um, look, I don't want to be more popular. I don't give a fuck what you think about me. I'm doing what I love, and I want to make that very clear. I'm coming out here to complete, not to compete. I've already
Yeah, I like
I've I've done a lot of things, but now this is my race. I came here to complete something.
that.
So
Yeah,
you guys can watch if you want, but I've told the truth to myself, and now I'm putting the truth into my records. I'm putting my soul into these records. I understand what I'm supposed to be saying, how I'm supposed to be saying it, and who I'm supposed to be saying it to. Kingmaker, May 16th. Let's fucking go.
my man. Yes. Hey, salute to Exhibit, man. Everybody put X's in the chat. Everybody put X's in the chat. Salute to
Yeah.
Exhibit, man. Thank you, my
Hey, and,
good
and we're
brother.
gonna do a conversation after the record come out. We're gonna
Let's
see
do
what's
it.
popping. Yeah,
Let's do
yeah,
it right back.
yeah,
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
yeah.
My man, appreciate you, my good brother.
All right, love, man, love. All
Shout out to the cat, the Ghetto Cafe, man. I love y'all, man. We just did another one,
right.
man. Thank y'all. We gonna be back real soon. Thank you for hanging out with your boy today, man. That was awesome. I appreciate y'all. This was dope, man. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you. This was dope. Exhibit. We got another dope one. Look forward. We got a lot of dope interviews coming. A lot of dope conversations. My man X just blessed us with a super dope conversation, man. Thank y'all for logging in. Thank y'all for hanging out with me today. Thank y'all for the questions. Thank y'all for the insight. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. Yes. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I see who else. I see Seuf. Hey, Blas. I see Jim the Jim. Lord Race, Lao Zoo. Who else I got? DJ, who that? DJ Breastmilk in the building. GFS Blackout. Shout out to you for all the questions, man. Thank you. Mike Infamous. Who else? McAdoo. McAdoo Music is definitely in the building. Um, Everybody, man. Thank y'all, man. All the women in the building. Afro Butterfly was definitely in the building earlier. Sunshine Baby always hold me down. Thank you. Thank y'all, man. I just appreciate y'all, man. Straight up. I appreciate y'all. This was dope. This was dope, man. Hey, I'm out, y'all. So, hey, next time, I'll make sure we go. I'm gonna let y'all know ahead of time what's going on and when's what, and we'll get it. We'll be back here ASAP. I'll be back during the week live this week. Maybe back on tomorrow, but I'll let y'all know ahead of time when I'll be back on. But I thank y'all for hanging out with me today, man. This was dope. Y'all are dope. Salute. Salute. I'm out. Peace.